Let's have a look at some more trig proofs. These are the last ones of the worksheet that I've given to you. And then you'll probably get a few more today. I think they're really fun and you haven't really delved into some really tricky ones yet. These are all, I reckon, pretty simple. Right, so let's have a look at this first one. So sine squared x, cotangent x squared plus sine x squared. Notice that sometimes I say sine squared x or instead of sine x squared, but I mean the same thing. So immediately I look at the left hand side. I'd usually write the whole thing out, as I keep saying, but I'm going to be lazy for the sake of the video, and I'm just going to straight away manipulate this to sine squared x cotangent squared x plus 1. So I've just factorise out the sine squared. And now I look at my formula sheet and I can see that this here, actually, I think am I doing the right one? Yeah. So sine squared x, well that there, cotangent x plus 1 is cosec, so that's sine squared x cosec squared x, but cosec squared is 1 over sine, so that's sine squared x over sine squared x, which is 1, and that is the right hand side, end of proof. Nice and easy. I thought I just started on the wrong problem for a second here. So I factorised the sine squared out. I saw that there is an identity for that, and it's cosec squared x from my identity sheet. Right, so you've got one of these nearby, or you've printed off from the internet. I don't really mind. And then I remembered that cosec, the way I do it is that the third letter is what it's going to be 1 over. It's just a coincidence, I think. So, but it works. So that's going to be 1 over sine, but it's a squared, so it comes out, falls out like that. Right, this one. Sine squared x over sec times sec squared x. Wow, let's go left hand side, and this just comes with a bit of experience, but that's going to be sine squared x over cosine squared x, isn't it? Because that's 1 over cosine, so, and it's squared. Well, sine over cosine is tan, and it's squared, so that's tan squared x, and then my identities say that tan squared x is actually equivalent to sec squared x minus 1, and that is the right hand side, end of proof. Okay, let's have a look at these ones. Just make sure that I've kept that in the frame of my camera. All right, interesting one, this one. Cotangent squared minus cosine squared. Well, the left hand side, cotangent is reciprocal of tan, so this is going to be cosine squared x over sine squared x minus cosine squared x. Let's factorise out the cosine squareds. Cosine squared x leaves me with 1 over sine squared of x minus 1. Well, the inside of this, I don't like 1 over anything. We've always got a different identity we can use there, and it's going to be cosec squared x minus 1. And then I remember on my identity sheet that that's actually an identity. So it's cosine squared x, and that identity is going to be cotangent of x squared, and we have the right hand side, QED, end of proof. Okay, what are we going to do with this one here? So the left hand side, can I rewrite this in a way that's going to be helpful? I think I'm going to go with, well, this is sine of x divided by 1 over sine, isn't it? Plus cosine of x divided by 1 over cosine of x. We can keep, change and flip from year 9 and call this sine squared x plus cosine squared x, which is 1, and that is the right hand side. And that is the end of that proof. So 4 proofs done pretty quickly, pretty easily. This one stumped me for a little bit, and then I realised what I could do. So there's probably an easier way, so someone else might be able to actually tell me, but I changed the whole bottom of this to a different identity. So I just went cosine of x, and I just went, what did I do? So I believe I changed this to 1 over cosine. 1 over cosine x. So I'm ignoring the top for now. I'm just going to make the bottom into something. Minus, well, that's sine x over cosine x times sine of x. So this is going to be cosine x all over, well, this is sine squared, and I'm going to pull 1 over cosine out. So that's 1 minus sine squared x. Well, that's cosine squared. So this is cosine x over cosine squared of x over cosine of x. That's squared and that'll cancel. We've got cosine over cosine, which equals 1, which equals the right hand side. End of proof. So just to walk you back through that, there's a pretty roundabout way of doing it. Maybe there was an easier way. I'm not too sure, but it's just the way I did it. So cosine x, I left that on the top, and I wrote the bottom in terms of cosine, didn't I? So I got all these identities out, because there's sine there, hinted that I need to get this in terms of sine, and this in terms of cosine, and then I factorised out the 1 over cosine like I did in a previous problem. And then I've got 1 minus sine squared. There was an identity that was cosine squared. So the cosine squared and cosine cancelled, leaving just cosine. And cosine over cosine is 1, and that was the right hand side. And we are done for this morning. That is the end of this morning's tutorial. I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7 quite tricky ones coming your way. Nice.